Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Sean. So this is it's gonna be the first video on the channel. Never done this before, so definitely tell me what I'm doing wrong in the comment section. So what we're looking at today, obviously you can tell by the title, this is an Lb7, and it's getting some injectors. Obviously very common if you have one of these or know some things about the diesel world, then you probably know that. Anyways, so this video is not going to be a how-to, more or less a what to watch out for, because a lot of shops will say that they can take this job on and have zero experience, and it shows. So a little bit of background on this particular truck. It's an 02. This is actually my personal truck. And when I bought it, it was fuel knocking. Had two injectors hung open. The guy had told me it had been about 1,000 miles since he got the injectors done. So when I got it home, I got it torn apart. So we had a little bit more of a knock to it than just your average injector knock. So I wanted to get in there and do a little bit of digging. That's where I started to find all these issues on this truck that I was talking about. So we'll start going over them and kind of show you what you can, or what you should watch out for when you do this or get this job done by a shop. Okay, so starting here on the passenger side, this side, all the balance rates were showing good, injectors were within spec. However, the injector hold down has a platform that it sits on that goes down in that little hole right there. As you can see, all the way down the head, they are not in there. You don't get those in there, the injector will not sit right. It does not sit right, it won't seal the compression in the motor. So you'll have compression leaks, truck will run like shit, which this one actually ran good, and I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. But you know, not everything always works like it's supposed to. So another little indication to me that the person that was working on this truck had no idea what they were doing is the return lines on these are very prone to failure. Injector bodies are very prone to failure. This truck had tons of fuel and oil, and this is one of our main culprits. So we strip a bolt out on a fuel return line and we run it on with vice grips. Okay, and if you can see on the head there, a nice bead of RTV. Guys, if you do these trucks, buy the gasket kit for it. Valve covers, gaskets are not very much. RTV is not the way to do it on this engine, at least on the lower valve cover. From the factory, the upper valve cover is RTV, and that's fine, but put the rubber gasket on the bottom. Save yourself some time. So now back on the driver's side, get a little bit more into detail about what was going on over here. So a little bit of eye candy for you. This is the push rod that come out of cylinder 4, which was one of the injectors that were stuck wide open. And how that happens is when you do these injectors and when you take the valve cover off on an Lb7 in general, it's always good practice to make sure that you adjust the valves. Well, on this truck, the valves were adjusted too tight. Motor turned over, had to make room somewhere, push rod, weakest link. So with a bent push rod and nowhere for that to go, that was our metallic slapping that I was hearing along with the injector knock. So that's actually good. I've already went through and made sure that there's no other damage that was caused by that. But hey, you win some, you lose some. just always want to make sure that you really are getting your truck worked on by somebody that knows how to work on these, as that could have been a catastrophic failure there. Luckily this truck has only ran for about 1,000 miles since the repair. So with that being said, those are our main failure points on these. We also had plenty of valve cover bolts that were just rounded off, which is very common on these. They're not very easy to get to, especially the back two right there by the fuel lines, supply and return. Those are not very fun at all to get, but with the right tools and knowing what you're doing, it's really not that bad. I've got about 4 hours in this truck at this point. Have all the injectors out. It did pull one injector cup on me on cylinder 7 back there. Probably not going to be able to see it. The camera kind of sucks. But so now we're just waiting on a set of injectors, and actually going to be doing a video on installing injectors on this truck. There's a lot of ways that people do this job. A lot of guys pull the alternator and this bracket off. You don't need to do that. A lot of guys also pull the AC and this bracket off or forward. You do not need to do that. Pretty much all that needs to come off is your harness, your valve covers, the top of your intercooler pipe right here, your whole intercooler pipe on the passenger side, which we actually ran into an issue on this one where it had been rubbing on a hose, so I'm going to have to get a new intercooler hose for this side. But yeah, so stay tuned for the next video where we gonna actually have a cameraman, and it's not just gonna be me flopping something around with awful video quality. But stay tuned for the next video where we are going to be putting this truck back together, and then we will be taking the truck from here in sunny Tallahassee, Florida to New Hampshire, straight through. So that'd be a good test to see if our repair worked or not. Anyways, we're also going to be having a video coming up this week where we will be doing a turbo on an Lb7. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. Yeah, not very good at this stuff, so feel free to let me know down in the comments what I could do better. But until next time, keep wrenching, guys.